All right, Game Lab 15. What we're going to do is get into controlling objects with the keyboard, with keyboard input. There will be on Google Classroom a link to some code called the UFO or something like that, and it doesn't have a ton in it. Here's what the code looks like. You're looking at that right now. If I run it, it does this. It's got, I created this UFO over on the animation tab, and so here's an option for you. If you don't want to use my UFO, you could create a program from scratch and just get your own object or make your own object, and you can do this assignment. Or if you want to go to the animation tab and alter my UFO, you could do that as well. Really, the important part is not what the object is. The important part is using keyboard control and moving the object around. And so that's what I'm going to kind of get into in this little demo. And there is a, if I just, here, let me, there is a handout. You've got a handout posted on Google Classroom as well. It doesn't have every bit of the code in there, but I'm going to show you enough of the code to get you going here. All right, so let's go to work. Let's do it. This is going to involve, you have to use an if block because you have to read the keyboard. You have to write the program so that it checks the keyboard to see if certain keys have been pressed. And so that's an if block. Then there's another block that we're going to use that will help read the keyboard. So we start like this. We're going to go if, I'm just going to use the third one down, and I'll drop it in. If you're a more advanced coder, you might have tricks up your sleeve. Do it. Not going to yell about it. All right, so I'm going to bring over an if block here and drop it in, and then I'm going to the world drawer, the yellow one, the world drawer. And be careful about this. Again, if this is kind of a first-time thing for you, be careful about this. I'm going to use the block here called key down. Now, please notice that I'm not using the block called key went down. Those are two different things. Key down kind of checks to see is a key being pressed. Is it being pressed down and held down? Is the key down? Key went down checks to see did a key get pressed and then let go, right? And those are two different things. So I am using key down, and I'm going to put it in that hole right there. All right, now this is what we're going to do is I'm going to make that UFO move around the screen based on the arrow that's being pressed. Now, it makes sense to me to use the arrow keys for this: the up, down, the up arrow, the down arrow, the right arrow, the left arrow. But some people use WASD, right? W is up, S is down, A is left, D is right. A lot of games are set up that way. A lot of two-player games are set up that way, where WASD are the controls for one player and the arrows are the controls for a different player. But I'm going to use the arrows. You could use whatever keys you want, really. Okay, so on this, it says if key down, up just is referring to the up arrow key on the keyboard. Now, you know, you see a couple of others suggested here, like the space bar and the A key, but you could put any key in there you wanted. I'm just going to use the up arrow. All right, so if the up arrow is pressed, what do you want to do? Well, I want the UFO to go up. So I'm going to do this. This is going to be one of our counter loop kinds of things. I'm going to do, let's see if it's going up or down. What's that going to be? X or Y, X or Y, X or Y. It's going to be a Y. It's going to be a sprite.y. Okay. And I'm going to do this the counter pattern that we've done on a lot of other programs. I'm going to bring over a plus block and I'm going to drop it in there, and I'm going to go back to sprites and bring over another .y and drop it in there. And it's going to have to be, if you're using my code, that'll have to be UFO and UFO unless you change the name of it up here, right? It has to match what's up here. So be careful about that. Now, again, you have to think, and we've said this before, when you're moving things around the screen, you have to think about X's and Y's and positives and negatives. So if I want that to move up the screen, pop quiz, tick-tock, what's it going to be? Is it going to be a positive number or a negative number? Tick-tock, 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 ding. It's going to be a negative number. Up is a negative direction in this case. So I'll just, I don't know, I'll use 5, but you can use, you know, the amount you move it is up to you. So if key went up, UFO.y equal UFO.y plus a -5. Let's run that and just hit the up arrow on the keyboard. Oh, look, it works. Now, if I hit the down arrow or the right arrow or the left arrow, it doesn't work because I have not programmed those yet. Right? And I'll do maybe one more while you watch, and then, yeah, I'll show you one that's done. But, all right, so I'm going to reset that. Okay, so to take care of the other, we gotta make it move up, down, right, and left, and I've taken care of up. All right. Now you could certainly copy and paste. You could select that block right there, and you could do some copying and pasting, and maybe you feel like that speeds you up, and if it does, then yay, go for it. I think I'll just build another one. It's not that hard. I'll bring over an if block. I'll go get a key down. Now I'm going to write this little block for the down arrow. All right. And again, you could copy and paste here. I'll just do a sprite.y. I'll get a math block, a plus block. I'll go back and get another sprite.y. And that's going to be UFO.y equal UFO.y. And again, I'm going down this time, so the things you always have to figure out is it an X or a Y, and is it a positive or a negative? Well, I think this is going to be a positive number this time. So let's run that. Oh, except I spelled OFO over here. That's nice. UFO. All right. So now my up and down should work. So I press the up arrow, it works. I press the down arrow, it works. Yay. So I've got up and down taken care of. If I press and hold, if I let go of the key, it doesn't go anymore. That's the whole, that's the difference between key went down and key down. I have to hold the key down to make it work. All right. Up and down are working. So what would be left here is to follow that pattern right there and write two more if blocks that would take care of the whole x-axis movement to the left and to the right. And so it would be a sprite.y and not .y, I'm sorry. It would be a sprite.x, and you'd have to think about the positives and negatives. And when you get all done, and I'm not going to leave this up there for long, but I'm just going to prove to you that it works, right? All right, so if I run that, here's one that I already did. And if I use my arrow keys, up, down, left, right, I have keyboard control over the object that is on the screen, and that's what we're after. That's all we're after today. Write a program, or you can edit mine if you would prefer. Write a program or edit my program so that the object that's on the screen is controlled by 4 keys on the keyboard. I'm using arrow keys. You could use WASD. You could use IJKL. I don't know what you want to use, right? But you got to program it so that it works. When you hit the keys, it moves. That's it. You ready? Go.